welcome back to Completing the Shelf, and the Infinity War is here. We are no longer on the road. We have come to the end of the road, at least for now. And
yeah, part one.
There we go. That's the first of maybe many spoilers in today's episode of the Marvel Cinematic Universe's Road to Infinity War with your loyal, faithful hosts who have been spared by Thanos and his almightiness. He is Chris. I am Alex. Welcome back. So, for this brief moment in time, we are now going to give you, just very briefly, a spoiler-free rundown of the movie. And we're going to give you a timestamp after that to look back on and say from that point onward, from that timestamp, from when we're done giving you the spoiler-free entry, there will be spoilers.
You can't talk about this movie in any meaningful way without some spoilers.
There will be spoilers, and as the movie title says, there will be blood.
Really?
Other than that,
or war.
Yes, either one, and usually with war there is blood. It usually goes hand in hand. But other than the movie itself, how's life in your universe, Chris?
You know, it was a little hiatus for our show.
Right.
And I think we gave everyone enough time to go see the movie several times.
And exhale.
I saw it twice.
Twice as well.
And exhale. Yes. Sweep up the dust a little bit and move on with your life.
How? No, that was too soon. You see, the timestamp's supposed to come after the spoiler. Never mind. They don't know what that means.
No one would have known that's a spoiler until you marked it as a spoiler. It's 6 days till the end of the school year, so I'm good. Oh,
very
nice.
nice.
Great. What about you?
Well, we're recording this on the Thursday of May 17th, so it'll be released at some point in the future, of course.
Saturday, I'm hoping.
Oh, perfect. So if you're listening to this on Saturday, it is the eve of my birthday. Yay!
That's right.
It's not a monumental birthday by any span of the imagination. I'm just celebrating the 10th anniversary of my 21st birthday. That's what we're going to call it, and that's what I'm sticking to.
Well, it's monumental because you were spared.
That's right.
As a child of Thanos, you were spared. Now every day is on borrowed time.
Yay. I guess. But yeah, so we are going to now at this time provide a spoiler-free look at Marvel Cinematic Universe and Marvel Studios' 19th, right? It was 19th film.
19th.
Beginning of Phase 4 or end of Phase 3? I forget this was.
It is still Phase 3 until the Avengers 4 coming out next May. So Ant-Man and the Wasp and Captain Marvel are still part of Phase 3. This is a long phase.
Gotcha. Yes. Yeah. Well, we're not phased out of Phase 3. This is still towards the latter quarter of Phase 3.
That's right.
This is film 19, spoiler-free.
What were your general thoughts?
Oh, I was gonna.
We watched this together.
I was gonna give
in
you
the theater.
No, I was thinking to myself just in that moment, why don't I just give the fans what they want, and that's the Alex's Cliff Notes version.
Oh yeah, because that will be spoiler free because you say nothing in it.
I really don't. I try not to. I mean, I
go for it. I
can't
can't wait. It's been so long.
It's been so long. I got to remember how to do this. So I get into this mindset where I'm just like this valley girl, and like it's just so like whatever. There's all these like nerdy, smelly, BO smelling guys, and maybe like a girl or two, like this sad wife or sad girlfriend who gets dragged there because she's trying to be supportive and do the thing that he wants to do, but really she just wants to be home and want to like binge watch Netflix for the whole night, but instead she has to sit there in a whole room with BO and nerds.
What movie is this?
And no, this is totally like the Avengers movie. Like totally. So anyway, there's these really creepy, wormy looking big dudes who walk around with this big purple dude who isn't Barney, but then they're hanging around with like Thor and Loki, and like they're not doing too good because everyone around them is like on a nap or something, And then Loki's like, oh, hey, I got this blue square thing. And Thor's like, no, don't. And then Thanos is like, you rock, dude. And then Loki's like, I'm a trickster, motherfucker. Yeah, I'm going to stab you. No, you're not. And then he actually dies, which maybe.
Spoiler. Come on, man.
Oh, well, at some point, well, that's the thing. If you think about it, Loki never really died. So did he really die? Like, come on. Like,
well, Thanos did say no more resurrections this time.
See, now you did the spoiler. Ha! Not on me. Anyway, after that, basically, Hulk gets
ship goes boom boom.
Ship goes boom boom. Hulk goes back to Earth, and we pretty much don't know what happens to Thor. And then we end up running into Tony and Pepper in Central Park, and they're trying to avoid the baby conversation. And then out of nowhere, Doctor Strange comes through a wormhole in time and space, and Dr. Emmett Brown's standing around like, great Scott. And then he's like, you need to come with me. Bruce Banner's here, and he looks really hurt and confused. So he does that, and Pepper gets mad at Tony again. And then eventually, this flighting motorcycle ship thing in the sky scares the whole city of New York and causes Ned to tell Spider-Man that he needs to go save the day by causing a great distraction, because that's what he wanted him to do in the first place. And then after that, it's pretty much save Doctor Strange, because he's got the Eye of Agamotto, which is really the Time Stone, or I don't even, it's the Time Stone-ish? I don't even, like, and then after that, Hulk is having, like, performance issues, so that's kind of sad. Then after that, the Keeper of the Sanctum, who's really a librarian, he's like,
Wong.
Yeah, Wong, that's right. He's like, I don't want any part of this. I'm just going to guard the Sanctum. Deuces. But that's after Doctor Strange gets captured by some wormy-looking dude who gets called Squidward, which is hilarious. And then somehow, some way, Iron Man's like, sorry, Pepper, I'm disappointing you again. And then Spider-Man gets, like, totally 86'd out of there, but not really. That's a restaurant term, by the way. I heard it. My boyfriend was, like, in restaurants before. He says 86 means they're out of it. And it's gone. So, like,
I think your wife's going to be concerned for you after this summer.
Oh, whatever. It's just fine. Like, so eventually we run into the Guardians of the Galaxy because they get the distress call and stuff from Thor's ship, but they're like 2 seconds too late, and it's all a bunch of rubble and corpses and stuff. But then they run into Thor, who Drax refers to as the beautiful angel pirate, which is awesome because that's totally an accurate description of Thor. And then Rocket gets confused for a rabbit. And then Peter Quill tries to act tough like Thor and pisses Thor off. And then Thor takes a skate pod, takes Rocket and teenage adolescent moody as F Groot to a faraway land to hopefully get a thing that can kill Thanos, because of course he doesn't have Mjolnir and stuff. And then after that, we continue to see how in the world it is that Vision hasn't got abducted yet by the alien dudes. And then he and Scarlet Witch are just like, oh, we're in love, but we're weird with the world. We're going to hide in Scotland. So after that, they find Vision, the evil, wormy-looking dudes. But all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Steve Rogers, Natasha Romanoff, and I don't even remember what Falcon's real-life name is. It doesn't even matter. He's just Falcon. They just show up and prevent Vision from getting all, like, abducted too and stuff. So eventually they all like, all right, we got to figure out how to get Vision all better again. And Steve Rogers is like, hey, I know these jungle dudes, and they're gonna like save him with modern technology beyond our comprehension and stuff. So they take him, and Hulk is magically off from wherever he was with Thor and Loki, and ends up on Earth because Idris Elba says, "All right, I'm doing the thing," and he did the thing, and the Hulk is all of a sudden on Earth. I don't know how that works, but it's cool because he's like a rainbow, but he's supposed to be green, but it wasn't a green rainbow. So they end up in Wakanda forever, it seems. And the scientist chick pretty much tells Dr. Banner, "You're an idiot. Why didn't you just do this?" And Dr. Banner's like, "I didn't even think of that." "Well, you should have." And then this big old battle happens. Thor runs into a really ironic dwarf who's actually bigger than him, which is a massive trolling, I guess. And it's great because nobody expects it, and he's just got like big, massive clubs for hands. And Thor gets like sunburned and stuff. And then there's this like axe that gets made out of like Groot chopping his arm off. They go back to Earth. They beat up all the evil dudes trying to keep getting at Vision. There's this really cool cat fight with the chick from Walking Dead and Black Widow and Scarlet Witch and one of the evil worm ladies. And then it's just like, oh wait, this whole time, by the way, Thanos is collecting all these really cool rocks. But in the process, he kills his adopted daughter and stuff, or thinks he did something to her. I don't even know. He's just like, "Here, go take a nap," and he like throws her away and stuff, which isn't nice. Can't throw away people. People are important. So after that, Doctor Strange and Tony Stark and Spider-Man and the Guardians all run into one another on Thanos' home planet.
Titan.
And they're all, oh, yeah, it's called Titan because you got to tighten your butthole after what happens next. Ha 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 ha.
Wow.
So anyway, there's this epic fight between Drax and Tony and Spider-Man and Doctor Strange and Mantis and Peter Quill, and it's awesome. And you're like, wait, why are we all fighting one another? We're trying to get to Thanos. Wait. You're getting Thanos? We're getting Thanos. How do you know about Earth references? Because I'm from Earth.
No, I love Doc Strange goes, "What master do you serve?" And Peter's like, "Am I supposed to say Jesus Christ?"
What? And then Tony Stark has this epiphany. It's like, I am not a man of Christ. I need to go find Christ.
Where is Gamora? Who is Gamora?
Eh,
I'll do you one better. What is
Gamora?
Gamora?
What is Gamora? Thank you, Drax. Of course, with brilliant timing. So anyway, then Doctor Strange probably grabs some mushrooms because he's like tripping out on like the future and stuff and having visions, where out of 12 million like possible instances of how this whole thing can go down, only one is where all of the Avengers and all the heroes we've ever loved and known could win. One in 12 million.
So you're saying
you're better off
chance.
getting a scratch off. Yes, there is a chance, but you should still play the scratch offs or the Publishers Clearinghouse because you have better odds, maybe. So eventually, one by one, Thanos collects all these really cool rocks and stuff. And then it gets like really eerie because Thor does show up with the super cool axe and stuff. But then Thor like misses the most important thing that you could ever hit to stop something from ever doing something, and that's somebody's brain. Duh. And then all of a sudden, Thanos is just like, well, I guess I got nothing better to do. And things just get really messy. And then there's this sunset, and Thanos is like, well, I guess I can just have some sweet tea. And the end.
And then post-credit scene.
Post-credit scene where Samuel L. Jackson drops a partial Groot bomb, and then we see this really cool symbol for Captain Marvel. There's your spoiler segment. Let's hit it from there, Chris.
So
So there will be an Avengers 4. Spoiler alert.
Yes, and there needs to be.
We mentioned that once or twice. Captain Marvel will show up, which means Brie Larson finally gets paid.
Oh, that poor girl. Poor woman.
I know. Poor, just stuck in a one-room shack, abducted. Now she's finally making money.
One room.
Yeah.
Yes. Very good. Very good. Here's my general non-spoiler. I want to get the spoilers, but let's give our general reaction. So you gave us the plot. Generally, I loved the film, but also was confounded by it because it didn't fit in any category of other films. It's like, it's a great, huge scope, character-driven film.
Yes.
But it's not like I can put it up against like Titanic or like the other great epic movies, Gone with the Wind. I know your wife.
Correct. Because those epic movies technologically never did what this film has achieved. They never had the opportunity to have the powers that are now available to us in 2018.
Okay, but still, like the Star Wars films, still don't even come close to the scope of this film in the way I reacted to it.
Again, because I think with Star Wars, there weren't 18 films leading up to it. It was just, here you go. Here's this scruffy nerf herder and this kid who gets his aunt and uncle burned to the stake and the crazy old desert dude, and here we go.
And I think that's why this is its own category.
Yes.
It's hard to compare. It's hard to put it on a shelf. Like, of course, I think a top shelf maybe. I don't know. We'll get there at the end. But it's hard to compare to the other Marvel films because nothing's tried to do something like this. It makes the first Avengers look like a baby test run, you know?
Right. And I think it's even daft to try to compare it to what the Justice League tried to do, because the Justice League
didn't know what they were
scope
doing.
was just so more diminutive, and they did not know what they were doing. Forgive them. They knew not what they were doing.
And to be honest, I haven't watched Batman v Superman or Justice League yet.
No.
I want to. I just don't want to spend a lot of money to see it. So once it's like 99 cents the rent, I'm there.
Redbox.
Yeah, Redbox, but I often rent on my Apple TV.
Oh yeah, that
right now it's like $5 on there. So, but I do look forward to seeing it just to complete my shelf, my mental shelf. Anyway, back to this movie.
There you go.
Yeah, I generally loved it. I thought it was emotional. I thought it was action packed. I thought it was a lot more focused than I thought it might be, and that's because of how it uses the Thanos character.
Yes.
Overall, I think it achieved all of its goals, and any quibbles you could have with it are a byproduct of it being the first of its kind.
I guess here's a question. Is this a movie about the Avengers, or is this a movie about Thanos?
This is a movie about Thanos, really.
That's such a strange thing for us to wrap our head around. This is the movie about the villain.
And that's brilliant. I mean, that's the way it had to be, because a decade has been leading up to Thanos, and if Thanos was another cardboard villain that the Marvel Cinematic Universe has suffered from,
it would have been so disappointing.
It would have been a big... it probably would have still made money, but it would have been Marvel's first major blunder.
I think the rewatchability would have been starkly lower than it currently is.
Oh, yes. I think it's pretty rewatchable if you attune yourself to, okay, I'm going in this time. I want to watch this character's arc and really focus on that. There's so much to choose from.
Right.
So, yeah, and especially Thanos. Especially that last scene with Thanos is pretty good, I think. I want to see it
man,
again.
he just wants some sweet tea, I'm telling you.
I think he's, well, we'll get there in the spoilers, but maybe he wants shawarma, right?
Sweet tea and shawarma, the key to any balanced diet.
Yeah. What are your general thoughts? We were sitting there in the theater together. How did you react?
See, I come into every single one of these movies, even though I've seen it and I have an idea of maybe what I should expect, but I really need to, I've got into there with a clear mind and no expectations aside from I want to be entertained. If that happens, I have achieved just complete success and I am one with the universe. It's great. But if I ever came in there with a set of expectations like, I want this to happen, and Thanos better not win.
Yeah.
Then I would just kind of sit there, and if that never happened, then I would just be so upset with not just the film, but the directors, but all of my superheroes, because they've let me down.
Well, let's talk about upset, because audience reaction. We saw opening night, and the first time I had an audience react in a collective way.
We did see it together, so we saw this at the same time.
We did. Was with Star Wars Episode 2 when Yoda throws down his cane and he starts fighting Dooku, and the audience goes wild, and I was like,
oh man, the jaws dropped and the poop hit the fan.
I love collectively engaging with a film with an audience. So I felt like that was a great experience with our audience. It was pretty good.
Yes, especially when I think that one of those moments happened in this film when Thor comes rolling in with the Stormbreaker.
Let's save that for spoilers. But I think there's a moment with Thor and with Captain America.
Mm-hmm. Definitely two of those moments for sure.
And Tony.
Yarp.
Mm-hmm. There was a lot, and then of course lots of jokes. Some of them a little forced.
Oh yes,
but it was. There's only one that I could cut out of the movie, and I went to the bathroom during the second time I saw it.
Oh, okay. I'm like, you sat right next to me. You didn't leave me at all.
The whole time.
Nope. Here's the line. You have gone way out of line.
We held gauntlets the whole time.
That's absolutely right. Anyway.
It's more manly with a gauntlet on.
Yeah, absolutely. First spoiler comes in that Idris Elba is in the movie. Done. I mentioned that earlier, but without Idris Elba, there is no way that there is any shot of defense on the part of Earth.
I have to be the annoying English teacher. It's Idris Elba. Idris.
You know I'm staring at you through the computer, right?
Well, luckily, I turned off the camera.
Oh, good. And I don't have a camera, so it's impossible. I would say the first spoiler I would give is the battle with the battle of Spider-Man, Tony, aka Iron Man, versus Ebony Maw, and I don't even remember the anti-Hulk. That's what I'm going to call him, anti-Hulk, because I can't remember the actual
Midnight.
That villain.
Might be his name.
No, it seems too dark. Pun intended.
No, that one.
Corvus Glaive does sound somewhat accurate, I would say, but it's a slippy, slappy, slippy, slappy, spanky, skippy.
It's coal obsidian, according to Wikipedia.
Samsonite. I was way off.
Anyway, yeah, in New York, the first battle.
That was a great battle. Yes, Cull Obsidian. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I loved that too. What'd you love about it?
The back and forth. We finally get to see Ebony Maw show off any kind of his powers, and he is literally mano a mano against Doctor Strange, and every move Doctor Strange kind of puts out at him, it seems like Ebony has an answer for, and he's just so battle hardened and tested that he has an answer and a response and a reply for everything.
And he's so chill about it. He just waves a hand here or there to psychically move everything around. It was really entertaining to watch.
It's incredible.
With Wong and Doctor Strange using the portals to throw things at him, and Tony with his new suit.
Oh,
yeah.
Hang on. We're going to get to that in a second, because it not only helps Tony, but it helps others too.
That's right.
That battle scene is fantastic. Dropping a car or any large object onto someone is a highly effective way of slowing them down. Sure. And we saw this multiple times in the movie to great effect.
Or a planet.
That large object. Yes, right on. So that was very fun. But let's get into the nano suits.
Mm-hmm.
Holy
Groot
the hell out of that, Chris. I don't care. That
Groot
is awesome. What they did to supercharge and turbocharge together, which you're not supposed to do with a vehicle because it's kind of redundant, but to nano power Tony's suit alone is just ingenious. Like, he doesn't really need it until these baddies show up. And we don't really get to see him use it until these baddies show up, which is fine. But to give it to Spider-Man 2, oh, it's just not even fair. He's so much cooler now.
Well, Spidey didn't get a nano suit, but he got the suit that was offered to him at the end of Homecoming, but still pretty awesome.
I think it had nanotechnology involved with it.
Maybe with the spider legs that come out. Maybe those were.
There were certainly a lot of upgrades with a lot of nanotechnology type strength, I feel like, that I saw with Spider-Man. But it wasn't quite the same super effect, because I think that was still Tony metering and sort of giving a governor to Peter's abilities in that regard. He never really wanted him on this adventure to space anyway. Like he said, it was a one-way trip. So we really couldn't have figured out if that was the true possibility of Spidey's real powers. If there could have been another version of the suit, it would have never gotten to them because, of course, they were multiple galaxies away. But we get the point. It was a new and improved Spider-Man on top of what was already a great super suit for him.
Yeah. Well, I feel like we're bouncing around a lot. So do we want to go from beginning to end, or just hit the things we like we usually do?
Things we like.
Okay. So let's just finish talking about this scene in New York with that fight. I love, hi, Mr. Stark, kid, there's a wizard. We have to protect the wizard and all that kind of stuff. And the Squidward joke is pretty darn good. And Peter's just earnestly just trying to help out, and he has no idea what's going on, but he's like, all right, well, I'll get the wizard.
Chase the wizard.
The action is very fun. Tony's suit, where all the multiple pieces fly out of him and he shoots giant beams. That was really fun. Really cool. Yeah. Wong, love to see Wong. Really cool.
Yes.
Too. And Doctor Strange, again, is cementing himself as one of my favorite characters to watch on screen. I don't really have an emotional connection with him, but he's just fun to watch, and especially a scene later on Titan.
Oh, yeah. We'll get into that.
What about Tony and Pepper? Are you tired of that relationship?
I feel like it's run its course.
I mean, they're getting married.
I mean, yes, but at the same time, I would have liked to have seen at the end of the film a little bit more closure in terms of the after effects of all that had happened. Did she
survive?
Right. I think that certainly came into my brain. I'm like, well, what about that? And fun fact, kids, we gonna go overtime tonight, so y'all better have gone to Major P's and Poops, because we gonna be talking for a while.
I think we might, yeah.
Just, Anyway, give me something that you liked, not just be after that New York scene. What was the next thing that you enjoyed after that?
Where did it go after
I think immediately goes into the scene where we do run into the Guardians.
So I love the location tag that just says space. It's so Marvel. It's so flippant. It's just like, yeah, okay. We don't have to put this, but it's a joke. It's a joke to set you up and prepare you. You got the music coming in, you got that location tag, and then boom, you're in a Guardians movie. And what I love about the Guardians movie and what they do here is there's no plot for a while. You're just living with these characters that you genuinely enjoy being around. And I think that Marvel does that really well. We've spent all this time with these characters. We don't care what they do. We just want to hang out with them. And the Groot part where he curses with his Groot language, and Quillow's like, whoa, there are acorns on you, man.
Exactly. That line is just spot on and genius. It's just, I had to explain it to someone afterwards. Well, I'm like, wait a minute. Think about it. Think about it. He's a
Well,
tree.
I didn't get it the first time either, to be honest.
Oh, come
I
on. Maybe it's because I have so much comedic just insight just crawling through my useless brain. I don't know.
It's the airplane love that you have, you know.
Surely you can't be serious.
Don't call me Shirley. But
all right, I'll give you half credit because you got half the line.
yeah.
It's I am serious, and don't call me Shirley.
So I've seen the movie once, and
it's one more than most people in the universe. So good on you for that.
According to my brother, it's a comedian's comedy movie.
It is.
Yeah. So maybe we could probably do a podcast about that. I'd be willing to watch it one more time to do that with you. That'd be fun.
Willing to wait a minute. It sounds like I'm making you go to the dentist in this whole ordeal. Oh, jeez.
Wow.
To have to inconvenience you with a drinking problem and Leslie Nielsen and
the Jello and the balloon and how she blows it up and it's all dumb.
It's not a balloon. It is autopilot. He is a person and he has
the way
feelings.
she has to blow him up. Anyway, it's a whole nother situation.
It's very important. It's very important, or else that plane would crash.
I have a question, though. At the end of Guardians 2, they have a big ship they're flying around, but now they're back in their original ship. So, whatever.
Right.
It didn't bother me, but it's something I just noticed now.
I understand.
What else do you like?
Maybe that question would be answered in Guardians 3.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Maybe. What else did I like? I believe certainly the next thing I enjoyed after that was Thor crashing on the Guardians ship.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
The whole interaction of what is he and how Gamora is just like describing.
It's like an angel and a pirate had a baby.
Yeah, yes. Gamora describing how his muscle texture is like the finest metal on the planet, and Peter's like, I'm still standing here. And how they tell Peter kind of not so chalantly that he is kind of chubby now.
And this movie, Peter Quill almost seems like he takes a back step in development. But then if you think about it more, he's always been very insecure.
Yes. He's always had a lot of like doubt and questions and anxiety, I feel like, about who he is in the universe and what his real meaning is and how important he may or may not be. And that really gets at him a lot.
And then now he's finally cemented his relationship with Gamora, and now, he's experiencing the jealousy. He's like a giant kid. He has never really grown up and adulted. So we're still seeing that, and that has big payoff later in the movie, which a lot of fans get angry at Star-Lord. But I think it's consistent. He's very emotional. And he acts on his emotion without thinking. So that's consistent with him. Thor and Rocket. Rocket. What a great pairing.
It's so cool.
And the scene in the pod where Rocket is like,
guess I have to be the captain now. Yeah.
Yeah. Good job. I love these Marvel movies because they're not just spectacle, but they care about the characters. And Thor, Chris Hemsworth gets to act his butt off there.
He really does.
He tries to play it off as a joke to cover his feelings, but you can tell the pain and hurt that is inside this man, this god. And, just wonderful acting from the CGI raccoon or rabbit or whatever.
Yeah.
I love that scene. It's one of my favorite scenes in the film, I believe, because it's just rich with that. It grounds all the crazy action in a real person.
Yes.
Love it.
And that person is Bradley Cooper, of course. Just a reminder. The handsome, beautiful Bradley Cooper.
Yeah, but James Gunn's brother is in the mocap suit playing the physical representation of Rocket Raccoon, so give credit to him too.
Yes, indeed.
Sean
I was going to
Gunn.
say, Sean, I was like, wait, I missed Sean. Oh! That makes more sense.
He's been playing Rocket from the beginning.
Yep.
But, yeah, so should we follow along with Thor and his storyline or bounce to...
No, I would say that from there, they are off to, and I'm gonna mispronounce it, but that's okay because it's the internet, and the internet's gonna remind me as to how to properly pronounce where they create all the greatest weapons.
Nidavellir?
Yes.
Nidavellir? Something like that?
Narnia, right.
Yeah, there you go.
Nailed it.
Nidavellir.
Narnia. It's Nunavut or Narnia, somewhere in between. But it is where the dwarves forged the greatest weapons for all of Asgard. So
Eitri, I think his name was, that played by, what's his name?
Peter Dinklage, playing a giant dwarf when he is a little person in real life. Oh my God, I love it. He was completely playing out of his body in this experience. It was fantastic.
Yeah, it was pretty good. Not my favorite moment, but when Thor opens the iris of the star and allows the sun to superheat the metal that forges Stormbreaker.
Yes.
Pretty awesome. Although, I think we almost have a problem now, because Thor is extremely powerful.
He really is.
In this movie, ups his power quotient by 1,000. And now you go back and watch Thor or Avengers, and you're like, wait, what? Like, you could have destroyed everything very easily.
Well, again, I think this realization of his true powers truly came into form at the end of Ragnarok when he realized he doesn't really need Mjolnir to be as powerful as it really is.
You're right. It was a mental limitation. He thought he needed that as a handicap.
Right.
He's free.
He kept being like held back by his own father, just to try to just make sure that he didn't become more powerful, that his son didn't become more powerful than he. As I think why Odin certainly did all that, to kind of protect himself and keep the throne. But then,
or prevent another, his older
Hela
sister.
episode, right? So when you look back at that, certainly you understand. All right, maybe he can take on the power of a star. Sure, why not?
Oh, it was awesome.
It was just nutty, just plain crazy.
And it leads to the best Groot scene in the movie. Well, there's two great Groot scenes, but this one where he reaches for the burning hot metal and then chops his arm off, making a handle for it.
Right.
What a great moment for this character. This kind of been a background one-note joke in the film. Great moment where he stands up and does his hero thing.
Yes.
What do you think about the axe?
I look at Stormbreaker and I say to myself, where have you been all my life? I want it as such in its visual aspect. It is fantastic. And when you think of the composition of what it's supposed to represent, each recreates something that has the power of Mjolnir and the Bifrost together. Nerd moment, cool. Just saying that out loud. It's like, what if I put a cookie and then put an Oreo inside the cookie with a brownie all around it? That is how I would pretty much describe Stormbreaker to the average mortal. Am I right?
Yeah.
Because if you think about it, Groot's arm, you take the Bifrost, which could pretty much be an Oreo, and Mjolnir, which is a chocolate chip cookie, and you put all three together, you have Stormbreaker.
Okay, I love it.
Beautiful. It's just poetic. And boy, do I miss seeing it in action. Oh, it's just so fun.
It was really fun, and this movie was one of the best Thor movies we've gotten.
Oh, and I don't know how you could have beaten Ragnarok, but you did.
Ragnarok was great, but this does in some ways because it's serious Thor too. It's not just all light and happy and fun like that movie was, but like we see bad A Thor back with a weapon, just destroying ships, just slinging his weapon around, Of course, he makes a fatal mistake. Well, it's not fatal for him, but fatal for others.
Yes.
At the end.
Yes.
Where he chooses to get revenge. Because, he could have taken that headshot on Thanos. But he wanted to say, see, I told you I would kill you. And so he got him in the heart. So he could say that to his face. And that selfish desire, that arrogance, doomed everyone. Come on, Thor.
And it wasn't the only character that had to run in with this sort of idea, this sort of theme of arrogance causing issues. We kind of hinted on that with Peter. Peter certainly had that moment on Titan, along with Stark and Drax and Doctor Strange and Spider-Man and Mantis, coalescing together to finally pin down the powerful Thanos.
Again, one of the best action sequences.
Oh, just tremendous.
Akin to like the Avengers, where they're all working together. I love when Spidey's popping in and out of the portal saying, more magic, magic, more magic.
And then Thanos really pretty much calls him out perfectly. Pest.
Yes.
And then right as Peter Quill lands in front of Thanos, as he's pretty much incapacitated by everyone in front of him, he's asking him, where's Gamora? Thinking, and this is I wouldn't say it's a theme, but certainly it's the problem of a man only thinking about his loins, thinking with his nether region. It is an age-old dilemma, an age-old foil of man.
I don't think he's just thinking about, who am I going to have sex with now? He really loves her. He relies on her.
Well, that's his heart. That's his love. It's one of the things now that this is his only family and the most important family member to him. Sure. I certainly get that, of why he would be like, okay, where is she? And he doesn't have the whole perspective of looking at the gauntlet and understanding that, wait, what is this stone that I've never seen before? Because I'm sure there were others kind of in the counter argument to that. But it was just kind of looking back on it, and he's just like, where's Gamora? I killed her. Bull. I killed her. And then he just starts punching him out. And it gives him consciousness again.
Yeah. Well, it breaks Mantis's hold on his mind, and then, it's all over there.
They are literally inches away from saving the universe. And all Peter Quill can think about is himself. His own arrogance lets down so many people.
And I don't even think it's arrogance. I think it's emotionalism. He is pure emotion. He doesn't think. He's just emotional.
I think it can be. I think both of that play into the emotions. His own arrogance fuels the wrong emotions of wanting to be the one who makes sure Gamora can be saved and does not die.
He's self-centered. Yeah.
But therein lies kind of the next steps of this movie of. They are not able to stop Thanos. So unfortunately, the only way Doctor Strange can ever summate that this could be over for everyone and to make it go away is to surrender the Time Stone.
Yeah, and I think this was cleverly set up because Tony is fighting Thanos by himself and he gets stabbed through the gut.
Right.
And as an audience, I remember feeling that in the room, like, oh my gosh, he's going to die here. And, of course, he doesn't. But then Strange says, if you spare him, I'll give you the Time Stone. And that was set up on the ship where he said, I will sacrifice you or the boy to protect this. So we knew going into that moment where Strange offers the Time Stone to save Tony, something else is going on here. This must have to do with his vision of that one opportunity to save the universe.
Right.
I love that smart script writing, right? Good structure. Did you think Tony was going to die there in the moment?
You have been advocating for Tony Stark to die for a very, very long time. Personally, I don't want that to ever come true. And I
don't want him to die either.
You've been promoting Tony Stark must die.
I think it would be good storytelling if he does.
And I think it would be good storytelling if we actually found out who framed Roger Rabbit. But, I don't think we actually found that out. That's what I'm saying. But that's not the point.
It was Thanos.
You're absolutely right. Probably was. But anyway, moving on. We've now realized that there is only one more stone to collect because Thanos has the time stone. And just when you think that there is no way that he can get to Vision because Scarlet Witch is going to actually destroy the Mind Stone.
Were you going to say the Heart of Tafiti?
I think I would have actually. Yes, I should have.
It looks like an Infinity Stone.
It did, yes, but no. The Mind Stone is still attached to Vision. They are unsuccessful in Wakanda to try to extract that from him and keep him alive and destroying it. So, of course, not thinking that right in front of Thanos, you're going to blow up the one stone he needs. He has everything but the stone he needs. He can do whatever he wants to make sure he gets it. There's no way there is a scenario in which he cannot get it, unless, of course, he gets an axe to the head. Oh, wait. We messed that one up, too.
Well, let's slow down. Wanda and Vision.
Yes.
So we have this growing relationship. They start flirting in Civil War.
Yes.
And if you're a longtime comics reader, you know they get married, and there's a whole relationship there, very complicated. It's not a happy thing, though.
Right.
Scarlet Witch has to make a choice to sacrifice her love's life for the universe, and that's a really tough position. And I love that Vision calls out and says, "This isn't fair that it has to be you, but you have to do this." And so she does it, just like Quill decides to pull the trigger and kill Gamora, and then it becomes Bubbles because Thanos changes reality.
Yeah.
She is forced in that same situation, and she has the strength and will to look her love in the eyes and kill him. And then Thanos makes her watch him resurrect him and then murder him in a more gruesome way. Rip his skull apart, and then he just turns flat gray. It was a horrifying corpse image.
It really was.
In a PG-13 movie. I could see kids being upset by that moment.
Yeah. Yeah. That really was just like, you look at it, you're like, oh, geez. I mean, if that's how you earn a PG-13 rating, then, I wonder why there are some R-rated films out there. But maybe it's because of language and intense situations.
Yeah, and it wasn't bloody, but it was an intense image.
Oh, yeah. It was certainly obvious and apparent as to how lifeless he became.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Just so cruel.
So then, we have people trying to fight Thanos, and
yeah.
Bruce Banner's in the Hulkbuster outfit fighting Cull Obsidian, and does it. And then I love the line where he says, "Hulk, me and you have some things to figure out," which suggests more development for them later on.
Are we actually going to get a Hulk sequel?
Well, no, we're not. But here's what Kevin Feige said. He said, "We can't do a Hulk standalone. But if we could do a series of them, what kind of arc would you want?" And he's asking Mark Ruffalo. And Ruffalo said, "Well, you know what? This is what I want, blah, 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 blah." And Kevin Feige's like, "All right, we're going to do that between Ragnarok, Infinity War, and Avengers 4. We're going to have that arc happen." So we're in the middle of this arc. I'm excited to see where it lands. Woo! Anyway, back to the oh snap moment.
The oh snap moment, when all 6 stones are upon the gauntlet, helmed by Thanos. With a snap of his fingers, I can destroy half of all life in the galaxy. And what does he do? Well, yeah, he did it. Mm-hmm. He didn't do it right away because he was still, marveling in the fact that he had all of this power.
Probably overwhelming.
But then, of course, when you get an axe in the middle of your chest, your priorities certainly change. So he, of course, enacts the power of the gauntlet, and there is this sort of middle sequence that he ends up kind of there within the Soul Stone itself. And he sees the first instance of Gamora, the one he fell in love with when he first abducted her, the child Gamora. And of course she asks him, "Did you do it, Father?" "Yes." "What did it cost you?" "Everything." And that's usually how I feel like when I read my cable bill.
That's why I got rid of cable.
You're a smart man. Don't get an Infinity Gauntlet and get cable. Cut the plug. No, that wasn't a plug.
YouTube TV.
Anyway, but yeah, it's that moment that certainly it's just like, well, how much pain does he really feel in that moment? Like, I know he's now seeing his long-lost love who's trapped in the Soul Stone, and he feels very sad about that. But really, what is his true remorse in that point, that it took him everything?
Well, if we look in that final scene in the tent, he's walking out of the tent to sit down and get a sweet tea and watch the sunset.
And get shawarma.
Yeah. The second time I saw the film, I noticed something different. He was hobbling out of the tent. And his arm was all blackened, and he was really injured. Like, this cost him a lot.
And the gauntlet certainly didn't seem like it was in good shape.
No.
The stones seemed very faded and very dulled out by the extent of his carnage, in this sense of what it was able to do.
Well, I didn't see the stones being damaged, but the gauntlet was definitely, like, maybe it's not usable anymore. Maybe he would have to go back to Eitri and get a new one made, because the mold is still there.
Unfortunately.
But he doesn't want to. Like, I feel like this whole film,
right,
he's on this mission, but he wants to rest after this mission. He doesn't even sit on his throne when him and Gamora are on his ship in his throne room.
Mm-hmm.
He's tired of. He doesn't want to rule anything, and that's what makes him interesting. Can we move into talking about Thanos?
We can. I'm more than happy to discuss. Now, it's weird. Would you call him the protagonist, or would you still refer to him as an antagonist?
I would call him the protagonist of the film.
And that's so weird. We have a villain as a protagonist. Like, the last time I saw a good villain as a protagonist was There Will Be Blood. That was the last time I saw a good villain as a protagonist in Daniel Day-Lewis's character.
Well, let's talk about what a protagonist is. So a protagonist is the main perspective.
Mm-hmm.
It's the character that changes the most and has a desire and meets conflict to prevent that desire from being achieved, and eventually overcomes that conflict to achieve the desire and is left changed.
Correct.
By going through that. Our other characters, they have arcs and stuff, but really they're there just to fight against Thanos. They are the conflict against him, the protagonist, trying to get his desire. I think this was a brilliant way to structure the film, since there's so many heroes. We need a focal point. We also need an empathetic villain or character in Thanos. What did you think about his? Well, let's talk about just the way he looks.
Grimace.
Yes. Shut up, Grimace. I'm gonna knock that ball sack off your chin.
Oh, that was another good one. Oh my gosh. Again, we were always kind of brainwashed into thinking he is the bad guy, but we are, in this plot line, in this script, drawn to believe him as the one who is supposed to be the one we are to root for in some regards, even though the previous 18 films, he has been led up to be the worst of the worst, and we don't want him to succeed in any way. Again, I feel like there is this human element of we don't want him to succeed because we do want to have some kind of freedoms, and we don't want half of all of the things we know to go away.
Yeah, we love our characters, the good guys that we've been getting to know.
But at the same time, you learn to understand where his mind has been going towards and how he is set on proving his own arrogance correct in some ways. Because the folks on Titan told him this is not the way to do it. He wanted to prove them wrong. That's a strong theme, arrogance, throughout this film, whether it was from Thor, Peter Quill, and even Thanos. Always the intent of wanting to prove yourself right.
And going with his arrogance, he goes so far to call everyone in the universe the children of Thanos.
Right.
Even Scarlet Witch, he says, my child at the end. The only person he doesn't call his child is Tony, because he respects Tony, maybe even as an equal in some ways. Which is interesting, and I'm going to have a whole 2 or 3 part video essay on Thanos, so I don't want to say too much, but I don't know. I think this character is the intellectual core of the film. Agreed. These Marvel movies, I've been saying, they always have spectacle and emotion and a good plot, but they always have some kind of intellectual, philosophical nugget. And here it's like the ethics, like, is he wrong? Is his goal of wiping out or weeding out the population like a garden? If the flowers grow unchecked, no one's gonna have enough material in the soil to grow, right? So we have to weed it out a little bit so the things that are left can spring up and have a fuller life.
Right.
Is that right or wrong? Does that value life or devalue life?
I believe in order to see, that's the thing. In the human element, it devalues life because we as a human race, we want to create life. We want to foster and nurture life. But planets don't really understand in that sense, that they don't have a moral fiber of saying, well, I want you to have all of this life on this planet. And we, as humans, are scientifically trying to continue to find ways where we can either live forever, keep the planet alive, while planets are doing whatever their damnedest to be a planet and exist. Just plain old exist and not explode.
And the planets have finite resources. So
exactly.
Thanos is almost like an environmentalist gone too far. An extremist.
He is Al Gore to the nth degree. You could say that, except Al Gore doesn't have a ball sack for a chin.
Oh, boy. Oh, my.
I feel like there's a fanaticism to his mission that the human race and most sentient life in the universe would see that as fanatical and demented and beyond a rational thought.
But then, is it extremely objective and rational? Because he says on Gamora's planet, before he came and slaughtered half their population, they were living in hunger.
Yep.
Now it's a paradise where no one wants for anything. Those people now living on her planet, would they want to go back the way it was? Are their lives improved?
But we were happy.
Yeah. That was good. I don't know. I don't think we're going to solve this question here. I think we're going to enjoy asking the questions. And that's what I love about this movie. So I got to tell a little story.
Story time.
Mother's Day weekend on Saturday.
Oh, lovely.
My wife and daughter, we went to a blueberry farm and did some blueberry picking. And we're walking up and down the groves and picking blueberries, and Caitlin's grabbing them off the bottom and shoving them in her mouth and loving it. And a few rows down, there are a bunch of people talking about this movie. It's like they just came out of it or something. And they're having this rich, ethical, philosophical debate. And I'm just like, and then Danielle looks at me like, you're loving this. I'm like, yes, because pop culture, a popcorn movie, is inspiring people to use their brains and think critically. As a teacher,
love it.
Thank you.
Exactly.
So that's one reason I have to praise a movie, because no matter what all the other flaws are, there's something to talk about beyond, oh, that was really cool looking, and it is. And, oh, I really love those characters, and I do. But there's something more to it, so that's cool. Oh, man. Where else do you want to go?
I think, I feel like I want to in some ways. Like, there's this part of me that wants to, like, think about what were, like, my favorite top 3 jokes from the movie. Not just, like, within the movie itself. Not, like, memes post-movie and things like that of, Mr. Stein.
Intentional jokes in the film.
Yeah, intentional joking. I'll call it that, intentional joking. Peter Quill attempting to have as deep a voice as Thor is number 3 for me.
Yes.
That was a fantastic segment of one Chris trying to match another Chris. It was awesome.
It's a Chris off.
It was a Chris off, yes.
So for me, my number 3 would be, I am Groot. I am Steve Rogers.
Yes.
Steve didn't get much to do in this movie. We didn't talk about him really.
And I'm kind of okay with that.
I am too. I think he's going to play a bigger role in the next one. But he had 2 great moments. That moment, and then also when he comes out of the shadow and catches the blade and the music swells and plays the Avengers theme. Awesome. Wonderful. Anyway, your number 2 joke.
I would say my number 2. We're using made-up names.
That's my number 2 as well.
Oh, I'm Peter Parker. I'm Doctor Strange. Oh, we're using our made-up names. I'm Spider-Man.
That was great. Yes.
It was such an awesome joke.
And it develops the character. That's what's fun about reading a Marvel book. Like, I'm reading the latest Avengers series now, and it's just fun to see these characters interact.
Yep.
But what's your number 1 joke?
Well, wait. Did you give us your number 2?
It's the same one.
Oh, we shared
Same
it. Good.
one.
Okay, good.
Yep.
My number 1 was, if you had no idea I was there, I'm invisible. I am moving so slowly. I am invisible. Hi, Drax! Damn it. It's just so obvious because he's like not even close to invisible. He is a massive. He is Drax the Destroyer. In no universe could you ever be invisible with a blue and red body and all of those markings and imprints all over your skin.
And this joke was provided by James Gunn.
That's fantastic.
And it's the only joke in the movie that I dislike.
Oh, come on.
I hated it the first time. I went to the bathroom the second time. I will skip it.
It's my number 1.
I know. No, here's why I don't really like it. I get what they were trying to do. Drax has been a great character because he's very literal.
He is so uber literal. It's amazing.
And he has no filter. He just says what he thinks. This wasn't about literal or not. It was just dumb. I don't know. It just made him seem dumber than what he is.
I think it was an attempt to have him be like, I am more than you see. And me, I am invisible. I move so slowly. So incredibly slowly. I cannot be
sipping
seen.
On some kind of drink.
He's eating like potato chips for all we know.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Or whatever the space version of Guardians of the Galaxy potato chips is supposed to be.
Yeah. Anyway, my number 1. Oh, what was it? Oh, gosh, I already forgot it.
Uh-oh.
Oh, it's a Drax. It's the Drax joke. Where is Gamora? Who is Gamora? What is Gamora? I loved that because it reminds me of like Who's on First, and that
yes,
language-based joke, a very classic joke that
he doesn't understand the thought process. Everyone's just asking questions, and the end word is Gamora. Why is Gamora? No, Drax, stop! You're trying too hard.
He's just going in the sequence of the grammatical construction, and
right.
I just loved it. I also love where he says, "Go ahead, do it. I can take it." And Manta's like, "No, you can't."
No, you really can't.
So that is my favorite Drax moment for sure in the film.
Yep. So there are our top 3 one-liners from Avengers: Infinity War. That was a good little mini segment there.
You want a shelf?
Do you have to make me beg? Come on now. Finally get to the segment of the show that we are famous for from all these 18 episodes or 20 some odd episodes that we've done to this point.
This is episode 22.
Right. I'm just saying in terms of the ones that we actually shelve films.
Yes.
This is a top shelf film. Good night. I pretty much described numerous reasons as to why I have loved this movie. If MoviePass will let me see it again, I will, but you can't see the same movie twice on MoviePass, so...
You can't?
No.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, fun fact, MoviePass continues to blow chunks. Sorry, everyone.
Wow. That...
So I'll have to pay money to see it, and, well, I should pay money to see it. You're right, because people's...
It's worth paying money.
Yeah. Anywho. Top shelf.
Any final thoughts before I shelf mine?
Nope, top shelf.
Okay. Well.
You are drawing this out way too much. Don't all of a sudden put this on a second shelf on me.
This is hard because, no, it's easy. Top shelf. Oh, my gosh.
You're not a very good actor.
No, I'm not. And that's why I'm a teacher. Those who can't teach. No. I just destroyed my entire profession with the most insulting things you can say. But no, this is definitely top shelf because it takes its character development seriously.
Mm-hmm.
It can tell jokes. It can be sprawling. It can be, I've heard, the plot structure is so everywhere. No, it's not.
It's so
If you focus on Thanos, then it's a very, very normal structure of a film.
You could say it's highly logical, Captain.
Indeed.
It's my closest Nimoy impression I'm going to give you ever.
Yeah, it was pretty good. Yeah. I can't do a Han Solo impression. I'm just not built for it.
It's fine. We're not all built for things like this.
Yeah. But, Top Shelf has some themes to discuss. It has an awesome action. The Wakanda stuff.
Oh, yeah.
If anything could hold me back from making it a top film, the Wakanda stuff is just, okay. That fight, didn't really care. It's just mindless villains are fighting on the field. Some fun visuals, but kind of forgettable. But that's okay because everything else was great. All the action on Titan, everything with Tony and Peter and Doctor Strange is great. The best part in Wakanda is when the Black Panther theme plays, and our audience went nuts with that. I love that. So,
yep.
Hey, thoughts on the score of the movie?
Thank you, Alan Silvestri. Thank you for doing your thing and making it awesome.
I hated it at first. I hated it. I was so disappointed. Because you have all these characters with their own individual themes. I wanted them woven throughout the tapestry of the score. We didn't get that. And I'm okay. I've listened to the soundtrack from beginning to end twice now.
Mm-hmm.
And it occurred to me it's a big operatic kind of Star Warsian kind of score, and I like it now. But at first I was pretty disappointed.
But then it grew on you, right? And you love it. And
I don't love it, but I love the Avengers theme. So, and there's plenty of that in there.
Oh,
and
yes.
I love Thanos' theme. Thanos' theme is so sad and melancholy, and you feel just for him. It's a really good little theme, but there's not a lot of consistent thematic work in this score besides bum bum ba-dum bum ba-dum which is great, but I want more. Anyway, I was spoiled with Thor Ragnarok and Black Panther, so I'll get over it.
I want more. So, I don't know why I just went into Little Mermaid, I Want More, but that's where my brain went. Isn't that sad?
We got to do Disney movies.
Oh, I'm sure there's a wide range of us there's a wide scope of us, of Disney films that we could discuss amongst ourselves. Yes.
And perhaps, Alex, we can put a poll up on the Facebook group for people to vote on what they want us to talk about next.
Yes. Would you like us to talk about politics, the Mueller probe, or would you want us to talk more about awesome stuff?
Laurel.
Yes. Laurel
Yanny.
or Yanny. Correct answer is Laurel.
Because Yanny disappeared after the snap. Oh, boy. Okay.
Probably not too far from the truth.
Well, we're not done with our journey.
Nope.
We are not going to go on the road to infinity anymore, but we're going to wrap up phase 4 So we're still on this road. We made it to infinity, but we found out, there's still more journey to take. So Ant-Man and the Wasp in July, Captain Marvel in February or March, and then in May, Avengers 4. We don't know what the title is yet, but Avengers 4.
Yes. I'm excited.
Me too. And you know what? Prediction, all that's left now of our characters are pretty much the original Avengers. So this might be the swan song for a lot of our original team.
Yeah.
We might get more Cap there.
Maybe.
Oh, I never asked you, what was your thought process when when Bucky started disappearing? And then it went from there on. What were you thinking? When the death started happening and Bucky's like, Steve, and he starts crumbling. And then on the battlefield, you see a bunch of Wakandans start crumbling. And then Black Panther goes and all that. What was your reaction to that?
I still don't know how to react to that in terms of how it was executed. Pun intended in some ways, like unintentional play on the words. But
that was good.
I feel like there is no easy way to do a scene like that. And this is the best way for us to get some potential level of closure and seeing just so many people, unfortunately, not be spared from this horrible
dust to dust.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that it has to happen. Don't get me wrong, but in the same vein, what else was what can we do? There's nothing in that moment that we can do, and we're never prepared for it because it's inconceivable in our thought process that he could actually get away with this.
Now, Danielle, my wife, when she watched that, she wasn't really moved because she's like, well, I know there's a Spider-Man 2 coming, and there's probably going to be another Black Panther.
No, you can't. See, I can't think of it as what other films could come afterwards. I am seeing this film for the story that it is. Exactly, I'm not thinking about the what if afterwards in the next film, and the next film, and the next film, because then I'm just kind of spoiling myself to thinking, well, no one ever really dies. I can watch the movie as many times as I want. Oh, but they're going to die in the movie.
You're right. And even if you know that there's another Guardians, there's another Black Panther, another Spider-Man, and so on, watching our characters react to their friends dying was painful too. And and then Peter dying in Tony's arms and apologizing. And that scene was improvised.
Oh, God. That's even more
job,
amazing.
Tom Holland. I know. So, this film, I think, is a gut punch at the end. It leaves you with hope, though, because Tony is left standing. And he's standing for a reason. Doc Strange made that happen. So he's obviously part of the plan that one chance.
It's all part of a plan.
And then we have, Captain Marvel's symbol showing up. And I know I'm excited about that.
Yes, indeed.
Did we cover it all?
I think we did cover a lot of it. I wouldn't say all of it. I don't. All right, Nebula. Now we covered all of it.
Okay,
Done.
Okay. Yeah. I actually went back and reread Infinity Gauntlet, this is loosely based off of the graphic novel from the 80s. And Nebula's there the whole time as this half-dead creature that Thanos is just torturing.
Hasn't she always been that in some regards?
I guess so. I don't know enough. I don't really read Marvel cosmic comics.
Yeah, every time, remember from Guardians 2, every time she lost to Gamora, she lost a limb, she lost a piece of her body, and it was replaced by machinery.
Yeah, but that's not how it was in the comics there. She's literally like a zombie corpse type of thing, being tortured. But in that graphic novel, Thanos is a cardboard bad guy. He's doing all this to impress the literal embodiment of death.
That's right.
He's in love with. And so what they've done in this film, making him empathetic and understandable, still a madman, a mad titan. That achievement is remarkable, deserving a top shelf.
Yes.
You give a top shelf. Let's get back on the road to finish out Phase 4.
I don't think we have to make you well, we actually have to make you wait an entire year for us to speak about. Well, we're going to recover the other Marvel films. Yes, we talked about that.
Yeah, we're going to do Ant-Man and Wasp and Captain Marvel.
Yep.
Between those, we'll do some other things. I'm really excited to talk about other movies or other properties or video games or something different.
It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun.
Yeah.
But we thank you for joining us, as always, on the road to the Infinity War that we finally made it into. Please provide feedback in the comments sections wherever you may have clicked from in these films. We thank you for joining us, as always, on the Completing the Shelf channel here on YouTube. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like and share buttons. But whatever you do, stay tuned, because we will be back later this year with more movie reviews and more interesting topics of discussion. And head to our Facebook page, facebook.com/completingtheshelf, and vote in our poll. What do you want to hear us talk about next? Or tweet at us. He is at Shelf Nerds. I am at Alex_Salvo. And we will talk about that and more here on the Completing the Shelf channel. And we'll see you back on the shelf.